an interesting one. You have this. I'm going to start over. I think I'm not sure what's going on here with the video, so I just want to make sure that everything has come in here. So I'm going to restart this. I am Brett Stevens. I am the discipleship pastor here at Gateway, and I'm excited to go over this passage with you because it's the one I'm going to be preaching from this coming Sunday. And we have here a really interesting story about the days after the resurrection. So the disciples have, at this point, it seems, heard that Jesus' body is not in the tomb. And they are still unsure what this means. They're still confused. They're still scared. And it's important to remember that they are, so at the start, this passage begins with them locked in a room. So they go into this kind of room by themselves, with this group of them, and they lock the door so no one can come in. And the reason for this behavior, for this kind of fear and kind of strange behavior, is that Jesus was executed as a revolutionary. And so their following of him would have them labeled as revolutionaries, which is a crime punishable by death from the Roman Empire. So that's the reason for the hiding, that they are afraid that they will be perceived as violent revolutionaries and punished accordingly. We can kind of learn that this was not this was a thing that happened periodically. In the book of Acts, Gamaliel, when speaking to the other religious leaders, reminds them of a few instances in which a charismatic leader arose and gathered a following and tried to have a rebellion was shut down. And he uses this to advise them to be cautious in how they respond to this group rising up around Jesus now. So that's what we have here. These people are afraid. They think they're branded as revolutionaries. They don't know what happened because the person that they've been following was killed when they thought he was going to be crowned king. And so they're gathering. They've spent years together now of their lives. These are their closest friends. They have given everything of their livelihood. They left their jobs and their families and their communities behind to do this. And so they're gathered with these people saying, what do we do now? I don't know. And it's in that moment that Jesus comes to them. And he reveals himself to them, and he blesses them with the Holy Spirit and says, you are my witnesses now. I'm giving you power. See that I am real. I'm alive. I have come back from the dead, and you have nothing to fear. So they're all excited, but not everyone was there. We learned that Thomas, at least, was absent. And so the disciples tell him, the others say, Thomas, listen, here's what happened. And Thomas has trouble believing it. And Thomas, for this, gets this record as doubting Thomas. He gets labeled as the doubter. And it's worth knowing that this same person who says, unless I see the hole in his hands and the hole in his side, I won't believe it, is also the one who, when Jesus said, I'm going to Jerusalem and I'm going to die, said, all right, guys, let's go. We'll all die with him. So Thomas wasn't just being ridiculous here. He wasn't just doubting when everyone else believed. See, they all got to see Jesus so they could believe. And Thomas had to rely only on their words. And understand that the thing that they were saying, that if somebody had come back from the dead, is pretty unbelievable. There is a skeptical philosopher who argued that he could never believe in any miracle because, from his perspective, the likelihood of the miracle occurring, just taking the chance of just that event occurring, was so much less likely than the likelihood of a person, even one that he trusted well, being confused, misunderstanding the event they saw, just playing a trick on him, lying to him outright. He considered all of those more likely than the miracle itself, and therefore he could never believe any account of a miracle. Now, I'm not saying that we should take that position. What I'm saying is that you can understand the reasoning that would lead Thomas to say, I can't believe it unless I see him for myself. But the beautiful part about this story is that a week later, Thomas is still with them. They're still all friends. They're still all gathered together. They're still trying to make sense of their life after Jesus has disappeared. or died, or some of them think, well, he's alive, but he's not hanging out with us. I don't know what's going on. Some of them think, I guess some people think he's alive, but he seems pretty dead to me. And here they are. They're all gathered together again. And Jesus shows himself to him. And he goes specifically to Thomas. He says, Thomas, here's the proof you were looking for. Stop doubting and believe. And this is a beautiful story because so often in the church, we are afraid of hard questions. There are questions that make us uncomfortable, that make us worried. We say, I don't know if I can handle that. But Jesus can handle those questions. We might be uncomfortable if people ask us these questions, but Jesus is not. Jesus reveals himself to those who seek him. And he says, stop doubting and believe. So friends, whatever your question is today, I encourage you to go in prayer because Jesus will reveal himself to those who seek him. So I encourage you to go to him, to stop doubting, and to believe. Thank you. Have a great night.